If you win a smack off, you don't wait. You cut the line. You go right to the front. Let's go to Hollywood. Mark, what's going on, brother?
Higher, Howie. Yeah, Jim, after watching the NFL draft hosted by Danica, I'm so hyped that our GM Howie, who, if you check for the record, is someone that Philly fan never doubted for a second, drafted the Slim Reaper, Devontae Smith. The only stain last night, though, is the Eagles had to trade with Dallas to get him. I mean, forget comparing that to kissing your sister. Trading with Dallas was more like kissing Wendy Williams' ass after a burp fart. And speaking of burp farts, I was so pumped earlier this week to hear from the Jungle's very own Herschel Walker, Jeff in Southfield. It's such a treat when Jeff comes in with his strange non sequiturs, his disturbing sexual fetish for Paul's dog, cancer death smack, turning the Jungle into his very own verbal Jackson Pollock. I know this guy's a mesmerizing train wreck, Jim. But unlike Tito Ortiz, your interviews with Alonzo Mourning and David Stern, and Armie Hammer ending his career so he can freely bite more backs than Marv Albert, this train wreck isn't that much fun to watch. Now, look, I know what everyone is thinking. Damn, Mark, you really want to pick a fight with Jeff in Southfield? And that is a valid question. I mean, you don't see a screaming crackhead on the street roll up to him and say, hey, bro, want to go? There's no winning when you fight crackheads. If Jeff wins, people are going to look at me and say, you idiot, why did you fight a crackhead? If I win, people will look at me and say, you jerk, how are you going to beat up a crackhead? It's a zero-sum game, Jim. But here's the thing, clones. We all know I wouldn't be fighting Jeff, would I? No, no, no. Because there is no such thing as Jeff in Southfield. The first clue is that he's from a fictional city. Southfield, really? There's no town named Southfield. What, born and raised in South Detroit? Didn't want any of that fake city gloss? The second clue is that Jeff is clearly disturbed, his mind broken, as if he's been beaten down over and over again in some kind of competition. Perhaps coming in second multiple times, but never first. Someone who had to sell his soul and join forces with a roided-up asshat to even get close to a championship, but would never, ever be recognized as a true champion. Who could that be, you ask? Mike and Indy, you faux-ass biatch. Is this how low you've sunk? What, did Mike look at Garth Brooks' act when he dumped a vat of tar in his hair, wedged his fat, chafing thighs into some sack-hugging skinny jeans, and went Chris Gaines with it? Jim, you know how Kevin Durant has burner accounts on Twitter? Mikey De La Jeff is the first clone to have burner caller personas. Mike, when Jim started his side hustle, the Reinvention Project, this is not what he had in mind, you kook. Your time is over, bro. So please stop calling Jeff, Mike, whatever your name is. Because the thing about Chris Gaines, he could always turn back into Garth Brooks and be a winner. You, on the other hand, you invented an alter ego that is just as much of a bitch-ass loser as you are. Welcome to Smack-Off season.
My man, rack him. I was going to say, Mark, you do know that today is not the Smack-Off, right? That's a Smack-Off quality call right there. Of course, he is a former champ. Mark in Hollywood also subscribing to the conspiracy theory that Jeff in Southfield does not exist. That it's not Jeff in Southfield. It's really Mike in Indy. And I mentioned I don't buy that myself. I just don't. I could be wrong, but I don't see it that way. Members of the XR4TI, though, do as well. And clearly Mark thinks so. Got to admit, Mike doesn't call. Jeff does. That doesn't mean that Jeff is Mike, but maybe he is. If you want to weigh in on that conspiracy theory, you go right ahead. Do you think that Jeff in Southfield really is actually Mike in Indy? I'm saying he's not. 1-800-636-8686. I should put up a poll. I'm not a poll guy, but I should put up a poll. Is Jeff in Southfield really Mike in Indy? And Mark in Hollywood wanted to make sure that everybody was welcome to Smack Off season. I still do not have a date, but there will be a Smack Off this year. You know this. Good job, Mark. Let's go to the phones.